If your kids were asked to describe you today, what would they say? Would they describe you as fun, patient, a great listener, or always there for them? Or would they say you're distracted, grouchy, or always busy? It isn't enough to simply set goals and follow through. In fact, you might be crushing all of your career and fitness goals, but your kids don't care if you hit your numbers at work. Stick to your gym routine or max out your retirement account. They care about how you show up as their dad in the moments that matter, how they experience you day by day. And unfortunately, the way your kids see you might not match what you think. That's why today I want to give you one powerful question you can ask your family to get their feedback, how to ask their question in a way your kids will respond honestly, and what to do if their answer isn't what you hoped for. Because if you're brave enough to have this conversation, it could lead to some serious growth and fun in your most important relationships. Let's dive in. Why this matters. Let's be real. Children don't just hear your words. They feel your tone. They notice your attention and sense your priorities. Every interaction, every glance, every frustrated sigh leaves a mark. And often we're blind to the ways we might unintentionally communicate, disinterest or distraction or frustration. Lamentations 3:40 tells us, "Let us test and examine our ways and return to the Lord." This is because it's so easy to fool ourselves into thinking we're doing better than we are. Thankfully, our wives and kids are great at keeping us humble if we're willing to ask for their honest feedback. So ask your wife, how would you describe me as a husband? Ask your kids, what kind of dad am I? How would you describe me in 3 words? Of course, it isn't enough to simply ask these questions. Your family needs to feel safe enough to answer honestly. Your wife and kids can tell if you're expecting praise or might get upset. So take a deep breath and remind yourself that this isn't about praise. It's about clarity. Pick a relaxed moment, a car ride, a dinner, or bedtime, and pause after asking so they know it's safe to speak freely. Ask clarifying questions, where you need to, but commit in advance to believe your family when they answer your question. And above all, take time to really listen, because you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you think you're showing up for your family only to realize later that you completely missed the mark. What to do if the answer stings. Of course, we hope that your wife and kids give you glowing reviews all across the board. But let's get real. We all have room for improvement. And if you create a safe space for your family to be honest, their answers might sting a bit. Maybe you've been distant. Maybe they feel overlooked. Maybe they even resent something, you thought was minor. If your initial automatic response is anger or annoyance, it's probably because they're right. So take a deep breath. Don't argue, don't defend or rationalize, but truly listen. Apologize for what you need to apologize for. Then take some time to reflect. Where haven't you been showing up like you should? How would you like to show up instead? You might not be able to give your family everything they want, right? Little kids, for example, may want your undivided attention every minute of the day, while older kids may feel you've treated them unfairly if they don't have every shiny new gadget, their friends have. But how can you show up? Given your current capacity and resources. Are there certain key moments you can commit to show up for and specific patterns of, behavior you can commit to change? Your family probably doesn't want or need you to do a complete life overhaul. They simply want to see some sort of daily evidence that they matter and you care. This could be as simple as 15 minutes of focused conversation, putting your phone away, or a simple nightly check-in. So decide what that looks like for you, and then take action. You don't need to fix everything overnight. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to start asking the right question, right? Hearing the truth and taking intentional action. That's how good fathers become great fathers. Remember, fatherhood is a marathon, not a sprint. The way your children experience you day by day matters far more than grand gestures. Start small. Start today. Subscribe to the Courageous Men podcast so you never miss an episode. Share this with a friend who needs encouragement and challenge to live courageously. Start by joining the Courageous Men community. Let's take action. Let's be courageous.